That moment, when he learned she was pregnant and had given birth to his daughter, it struck him like a bolt from the blue. His eyes instantly welled up, turning crimson. He gripped her shoulders tightly, his knuckles white. "Say that again, goddamn you." She met his bloodshot gaze, her heart twisting in agony. "Her name was Joy," she whispered, her voice thick with sorrow. "She was a very cute child, and she looked a lot like you." All the resentment, all the weary waiting he'd carried, vanished. In his chest, only an indescribable surge remained. He had never truly forgotten that phone call. On the other end, a tiny voice, soft and milky, had asked him, "Is it the paddle as in boat paddle?" Even then, his heart had softened, a foolish smile spreading across his face, and he had begun to anticipate the child he would have with her. Lingering thoughts, indeed, for a reason. Mr. Ethan Jiang, usually so calm and collected, choked back a sob. Was it that child? Tears streaming down her face, she nodded, a painful smile playing on her lips. "I swear I could just strangle you," Ethan roared, a tempest of rage and despair tearing through him. Yet, how could he possibly harm a single hair on her head? Instead, he slammed his fists repeatedly against the headboard, the impact shuddering through the room. "I hate you." The veins on his forehead bulged, and he ground out the words through clenched teeth. "How could you bear to hide it from me? For 3 years? That was my child." Unknowing, he had been robbed of those precious, irreplaceable 3 years with his own daughter. "Let's make the same mistakes again. You can destroy me, for all I care." 3 years later, Mr. Jiang, broken yet unyielding, finally surrendered to her, the one who had left him shattered. He initiated the peace, a desperate plea in his eyes. She had approached him with a purpose back then, never imagining she would fall into her own trap. When she finally made the decision to leave him for good, she answered his call. "Anya." His voice was low, pleading, vulnerable in a way she'd never heard. "I forbid you to touch my child. Please." She sat in the car, utterly unraveling, her voice cracking. "There was no child. It was all fake. Fake," she sobbed, her voice raw with anguish. "I'm so sorry." Hearing her absolute determination to leave him, it felt as though he had swallowed a mouthful of shattered glass. Men rarely shed tears, unless their hearts are truly broken. A sudden mist clouded Mr. Jiang's vision. "Give me the child, and I'll let you go. We won't bother you, I promise." "Wake up," she cried, her voice sharp with pain. "From the very beginning, it was all a lie I constructed." Fine. He sounded utterly lost, his voice hollow. "I can accept that you never loved me from the start, but the child was innocent. I'm begging you." Hearing the raw desperation in his plea, she was heartbroken, biting down hard on the back of her hand, but the pain was no relief. After a suffocating silence, Ethan roared, "All right, if you want to leave, then go. But Anya." His laugh was desolate, humorless. "Do you have any idea how hard it is for me to fall for someone? How dare you hurt me like this?" This line from the original Chinese text about the future child appears much later in the current timeline, after the hotel fight, not in the flashback. I have placed it there as it fits the context better in the enriched story. It was late in a city. The city lights a blurred halo against the night sky. In the Jiang family's luxurious riverside villa district, within a sprawling 3-story detached house overlooking the water, muffled sounds drifted through the opulent rooms. A soft, involuntary gasp escaped her lips. Anya's back arched against the edge of a heavy oak desk, her head tilted back, her slender neck curving into a captivating line. She surrendered to the man's insistent lips as he marked her skin with love bites, neither too soft nor too hard. The bright, luxurious lights of the study shone down, causing her to squint slightly. She lowered her gaze, focusing on the man before her. 28 years old, the undisputed head of the powerful Jiang Group, a financial titan in a city. Young, yet possessing cunning and ruthless methods that made him a formidable, even terrifying, figure in the industry. But now, he was hers, a willing captive beneath her touch. His hair was neatly cropped, his brows sharp like swords, his eyes deep-set and intense, his nose high and straight, his lips thin and precise. She loved the distinct, masculine peak of his hairline the most. This face, this physique, this status and power, anywhere he went, women would flock to him like moths to a flame. But his tenderness, his devotion, seemed to be reserved solely for her. Just like now, his large hands ignited a slow burn across her skin, his face mostly devoid of overt emotion, yet the raw, deep-seated desire in his eyes was impossible to miss. The duality of his nature, both ascetic and indulgent, existed within him without contradiction. Sensing her momentary distraction, his touch on her skin deepened in a playful punishment. Not paying attention, Anya snapped back to the present, her smile radiant and captivating. Her small hands slipped beneath the hem of his crisp shirt, exploring with playful abandon, a silent apology, a soft reassurance. Lost in the moment, she took his hand and lifted it to her lips, pressing soft kisses to his skin. Her movement paused as she noticed something. "You're hurt." Ethan was utterly captivated by her concern for him. He chuckled low in his throat, pulling her closer. "Worried about me?" His smile was gentle now, a stark contrast to the fiercely driven man he'd been just an hour ago. 1 hour prior, in a storage room on the second basement level of Zero Dawn private club in a city. Bang! A loud crash echoed, causing the black-hooded man trembling in the corner to flinch violently. Suddenly, the hood was ripped off. He blinked, momentarily blinded by the sudden light. Before his eyes could adjust, something heavy and hard struck him square in the face. The man cried out, scrambling backward, hands covering his head, begging for mercy. He saw the shattered camera on the floor and instinctively reached for it. A dark shape moved forward, and a polished leather shoe, utterly free of dust, came down heavily on his hand. "Ah!" The man screamed, clutching his injured hand, while his other hand fumbled for the leg of his attacker. "Mr. Jiang." Ethan didn't give him a chance to speak. He grabbed the man by the hair and, without a word, slammed his head against the wall. A sickening thud echoed in the small room, mingling with the man's desperate pleas and the coppery scent of blood. The room pulsed with brutal violence. The man's face was a bloody mess. Ethan threw him aside in disgust and gestured to the figures standing silently behind him. His assistant quickly handed him a stack of photos and a lighter. Ethan flipped through the pictures again. They were all of Anya, candid shots in the villa garden. His face grew colder with each image. In less than 2 seconds, the photos burst into flame. The fire leaped towards the man's face before dropping, scorching his hair. Terrified he would be burned alive, he shrieked, frantically slapping at his head and rolling on the floor. Ethan planted his foot on the man's head, shoving his face towards the burning photos. His voice was dangerously low, laced with chilling malice. "Still think you can play games with me?" The man's cheek was seared, the pain so intense he couldn't form a single word. Ethan hauled him up, slammed him against the wall, then kicked the back of his knees, sending him collapsing to the floor. Ethan grabbed his hair again, smashing his head against the wall repeatedly, unrestrained. He gritted his teeth, his voice a raw snarl. "Steal photos of her? Dare to steal photos of her again?" "Huh." The man shook his head frantically, sobbing. No, never again. Since you're high up in the paparazzi world, when you crawl out of here, give them a clear warning. Anyone who dares take a job like this again, I'll scatter your ashes." Yes, absolutely. Never again." The man kowtowed several times, his face bruised and bleeding, before scrambling away. Ethan's tall figure was silhouetted against the wall. He stood for a moment, head bowed, looking at the remaining photos in his hand before slipping them into his pocket. He calmly wiped the blood from his hands and gave another order. "Send him to the station for a few days." Leo, who had been waiting by the door, Ethan's childhood friend, finally stepped inside, seeing Ethan's fury subside slightly. "Are you really going to cross the Yin family over this?" For that woman. Rumors had spread through their circle recently. They said the Jiang heir had finally fallen, keeping a golden bird in a cage at home. And soon enough, this golden bird had drawn the attention of rivals testing Ethan's boundaries. No one expected she would be his absolute red line, his deepest vulnerability. Ethan gave him a chilling side-eye. "Mind your manners." Leo raised an eyebrow, surprised by Ethan's uncharacteristic seriousness. Was he actually planning to settle down? Among their kind, how many truly managed to marry the person they chose? Leo was quick-witted enough to steer away from the potentially depressing topic. He switched to a gossipy tone. "So, when do we get to meet the sister-in-law?" He'd been asked this multiple times at other gatherings recently and was already tired of it. Ethan ignored the question, pulled out his phone, checked it. No new messages. He glanced at his wristwatch. It had only been 40 minutes since he left her. Leo saw the fleeting softness in his eyes and grinned mischievously. "No way, bro. You're already missing her?" He hooked an arm over Ethan's shoulder, starting to walk him towards the stairs. I think you should just tie her to your belt. Seriously, what kind of goddess captured you? Ethan's gaze pressed down on him. Chatty. Leo rubbed his nose. Upstairs, there's a new batch of top-shelf liquor. The guys are all waiting. Let's drink till dawn. After only a few steps, Ethan stopped, changing his mind. I won't come up. Go tell them to put it on my tab. Leo was left standing there, bewildered. He chased after him. Hey, what the hell? Don't. They're all waiting for you. Why are you so hard to pin down these days? Ethan's answer was simple, delivered over his shoulder as he walked away. No fun staying with a bunch of men. Going home to hug my wife. Holy hell, Leo whispered, stunned. He'd actually admitted it. Processing this bombshell, Leo shook his head, disapprovingly. Let me tell you something. You shouldn't revolve your life around a woman like this. If you treat her like a goddess, she'll really start walking all over you. Ethan just smiled, still walking away, not looking back. Anya, meanwhile, was utterly unaware of the grim events that had unfolded in the dark basement that night. She gently kissed the injury on his hand. You need to put some medicine on this later. Ethan leaned down, murmuring something low in her ear. She blushed, pushing him away lightly. Stop that. I'm being serious. Stirred by her touch and words, Ethan's voice went hoarse. The guys want to meet you. He had returned suddenly, after only being gone an hour, finding her in the study. They had barely exchanged words before things escalated into their current intimate state. Anya curled her lips, not answering immediately. Since being brought into this villa 3 months ago, she hadn't stepped outside freely. Because of Ethan, her past life had been completely severed. She had been severely injured by someone with malicious intent, and, while unconscious, he had flown her back from G Country. She hadn't brought back a single personal belonging, not even the phone that could connect her to friends. In moments of disorientation, Anya sometimes wondered if her long time in G Country had just been a dream. For the first 2 months, under the guise of recovering from her injuries, he hadn't allowed her to go out. She couldn't argue. At the beginning of this month, when she was recovering, she had asked about finding a job once, but he had refused. His reason: his work was busy, and the time he could make for her was limited. He didn't want to find her busy with work when he came looking for her. Again, she couldn't argue. After all, he had spent considerable energy and resources to keep her here, to keep her. To ask for more, to seek more freedom, would be presumptuous for someone in her position. She knew her place. She had no freedom of movement, let alone the right to make demands. But her silence now seemed to displease him. His deep-set eyes fixated on her, all his veiled emotions pouring out in a fervent kiss. Anya found herself unable to resist, smiling faintly, a hint of deliberate naivete in her expression. So, when do we meet them? Seeing he didn't answer immediately, her soft lips pressed against his cheek. A silent, almost imperceptible sigh resonated only within her chest. Not daring to escape, she deftly changed the subject, as if offering him a graceful exit. It's a bit cold. Carry me back to the room, okay? Never. They spoke simultaneously. The thought of other men's curious, gossiping, suggestive eyes on her made him deeply uncomfortable. But Anya interpreted his never differently. Yet, her smile remained unchanged, and she softly agreed. Okay. Anya, save me. A woman's desperate cry. A hand clutching Anya's wrist like a lifeline, pulling her closer. Then, a cruel kick from someone pursuing them, sending the woman tumbling over the cliff edge. Anya watched in horror, unable to scream, kneeling helplessly at the cliffside. She wanted to follow, to fall into the abyss, but she was seized, bound, and left feeling more dead than alive. Raise soldiers for 1,000 days to use them for a single hour. Don't disappoint me. An old man's voice, a chilling threat, leaving no room for refusal. Her fingers trembled. Anya struggled awake from the nightmarish dream. Sunlight streamed through the window. She stood by the pane, staring out at the desolate surface of the lake. In the distance, lost in thought, autumn had arrived. From summer to autumn, from G Country to a city, beneath the veneer of calm lay the abrupt, violent turn her fate had taken. Allowing herself only 2 minutes for despair, she quickly composed herself and got out of bed. After breakfast, Mrs. Song, the housekeeper, a kind woman with eyes that crinkled when she smiled, gently reminded her that Mr. Jiang was waiting for her at the swimming pool. Anya was slightly surprised. He didn't go out? Ethan's status dictated his schedule. He was either at the company or on his way to a social engagement. Leaving. very little time for her. And all of her time, conversely, belonged to him. When he was here, she stayed with him. When he wasn't, she occupied herself alone. Mrs. Song, with a gentle, accented chuckle, said, "Mr. Jiang is very good to you, Miss Anya." Her eyes crinkled into warm lines. "Just this morning at the breakfast table, I heard him turn down several calls. He definitely wants to spend time with you." Anya smiled back, saying nothing more. Upstairs, at the rooftop pool, the water shimmered, reflecting the morning sun. Anya followed the sound, tracking his movements. He cut through the water with powerful strokes, his frogman style perfect, moving swiftly and smoothly. His limbs were strong and sculpted, his body lean and athletic. She watched, composed, admiring his physique. She let her towel drop, revealing a pure white one-piece swimsuit. The large cutout back highlighted her waist and hips, a tempting silhouette. She walked slowly towards the pool's edge, her long, fair legs moving with graceful charm. She dove in, her form professional, deliberately choosing his lane. Just as they were about to collide, she saw the rare flicker of surprise and delight on his face. They surfaced simultaneously. Anya wrapped her legs boldly around him, one arm looped around his neck. With her other hand, she smoothed her wet hair back, sending a spray of water droplets. Ethan stared at her, his eyes deep and intense, watching the water trail. From her clear, bright eyes, down her red lips, her chin, collecting on her collarbone before disappearing lower. Her occasional moments of playfulness or seduction, cutting through her usual cool elegance, always captivated him. "Why didn't you sleep in with me a little longer?" The rest of his words were lost in his kiss. When they broke apart, he leaned down and kissed the small tear mole at the outer corner of her right eye, then kissed the silver bear pendant she wore at her neck. He seemed to have a peculiar fondness for this necklace. It was her most cherished possession, a birthday gift her father had crafted for her himself before he passed. So, whenever he kissed it or lifted it to examine it, it stirred a complex mix of emotions within her. Seeing her eyes glistening, Ethan thought he might have been too rough, but the next moment, she responded with a passionate kiss of her own. Under the vast blue sky, soft clouds drifting overhead, a gentle breeze stirring the air, surrounded by a calm, private tranquility, untouched by anyone else, their hearts pulsed with a feverish intensity. "Teasing me this early in the morning deserves a punishment." His voice was husky, thick with desire. "What punishment?" she asked, feigning innocence. "What punishment do you think?" The playful dance of words, back and forth, they seemed to relish it. Just as he was about to give in to the urge to pull her from the water and take her right there, she playfully evaded him, swimming quickly away. They lingered in the pool for a while, the tension between them simmering, almost reigniting the flames, before Ethan finally lifted her out. Seeing him treat her with such tenderness, as if she were a precious treasure in his palm, Anya's heart fluttered. Impulsively, she decided to test the waters. As she lay on a sun lounger beneath a large umbrella, draped bonelessly across him while he carefully dried her hair, she asked, "I'd like to go out and work. Would that be convenient?" She didn't ask if she could, but if it would be convenient. Anya knew her place. If being his mistress meant she shouldn't be seen in public, if she should avoid contact with the outside world, she would accept it. After all, he had known countless women, beautiful ones, interesting ones. For him to have gone all the way to G country to bring her back, she must possess some value he desired. As expected, Ethan's expression didn't change. "I'll clear my schedule, and we can go out for a walk." He stroked her hair gently. "Take a look, see which country you'd like to visit." The dream she'd had this morning had left Anya restless. She couldn't just sit by and wait any longer. She poked his arm playfully, a casual gesture, as if making a throwaway joke. "If you absolutely need me under your eye, could you maybe pull some strings? Find me a minor position at your company? I'm truly stifled here." He didn't answer. The air fell silent, heavy with anticipation. 1 second, 2 seconds. Her initial expectation of a reply twisted into regret for her impulsiveness. A discreet mistress knew when to stop pushing. Anya felt his heavy gaze on her, but tried to act as if nothing was amiss. With a lazy sigh, she pulled a dry towel around herself and sat up. "I promised Mrs. Song I'd learn how to bake pastries. I'm going downstairs." She smiled, leaning over to kiss his cheek before sliding off him. She bent down to find her slippers, her back view conveying a sense of unspoken melancholy. Ethan couldn't bear it. He reached out to stop her, but his phone rang unexpectedly. Anya, using the motion of him reaching for the phone, subtly evaded his touch. By the time he answered, she was already turning and walking away. Anya believed she had handled the situation with perfect composure. But Ethan's heart felt heavy, constricted. He wanted to go after her, but was held captive by the person on the other end of the line. "Come bail me out of the station." Leo's voice was booming with frustration. Ethan's brow furrowed. "What happened?" "That bastard. I was framed. Yinmingu couldn't stand it anymore. He actually dared to set me up." Leo ranted. "That old buzzard just crawled back to his city after building things up in the south. If it weren't for the Jiang group turning a blind eye, could he have established himself again? He must be tired of living." Ethan pinched the bridge of his nose, quickly standing up. In the kitchen, Anya and Mrs. Song were chatting animatedly. He stood at the doorway, clearing his throat, signaling for her to come out. But Anya, in a small act of stubbornness, turned her head, pretending not to hear. Mrs. Song immediately recognized the tension between them. Seeing Ethan refrain from calling her out, instead patiently calling her name again in a low voice, Mrs. Song knew he was completely captivated by Anya. Noticing Mrs. Song's amused, slightly gossipy gaze, Anya, feeling a blush creep up her neck, set down her kitchen tools and walked towards him. She looked at him questioningly, asking with her eyes what he needed. Ethan cupped the back of her neck, guiding her towards the living room. As they walked, he leaned down towards her face. Still mad, Mrs. Song turned back in the kitchen, watching their retreating figures, intimate and perfectly matched. She couldn't help but sigh. Ethan had grown up under her eyes. These past few years hadn't been easy for him, and she could see that Anya still held back, kept a part of herself hidden. She hoped Anya would finally drop her guard and truly embrace Ethan. "I'm not mad," she denied, though her eyes still held a hint of pique. He chuckled softly, a low, raspy sound that tickled her ear. "Don't be mad. I'll give you an answer when I get back, okay?" Hearing the hint of helplessness, the concession in his voice, Anya paused. Suddenly, she felt something akin to apprehension, even fear. What if he was truly falling for her? What if she was truly falling for him? What would they do then? The new week dawned, shining on the towering Jiang Group building in the financial district. On Monday morning, with the release of an internal announcement, the entire company, especially the female employees, were shocked beyond belief, their hearts shattering like dropped glass. A parachute hire for the secretary office? And a woman? How many executive beds did she have to climb to get this? It was well known that Mr. Jiang avoided hiring female secretaries precisely to prevent such gossip and trouble. "I heard she's gorgeous. Fair skin, long legs, really beautiful." "Humph. Beauty means nothing to Mr. Jiang. I bet she'll be fired within a day." "I bet half a day." The women buzzed with speculation, their subject of gossip the last to know. Inside the president's office, Anya took the employee badge Ethan handed her, glancing at the title printed on it, Personal Secretary. The words were undeniably ambiguous, intimate. Anya had a strong intuition that the empty position he mentioned was one he had created specifically for her. She was utterly surprised, her heart pounding. She hadn't expected things to move so smoothly. That impulsive suggestion the other day had resulted in such a concrete, swift answer. No woman wouldn't be touched. Ethan spoke slowly, a hint of amusement in his voice. "Leo said I should tie you to my belt. After thinking about it, it seemed like a good suggestion." Anya blinked, suppressing a myriad of emotions. She tilted her head and smiled at him playfully. "But Mr. Jiang, hiring an art major as your secretary, won't people call you a tyrant?" "Who would dare?" Anya laughed, genuinely amused, but her smile faded after only 2 seconds. She lowered her eyes, sighing softly. "Don't be so good to me. I'm afraid I won't be able to leave you." Ethan's reply was equally serious. "You're worth it." He admitted, silently, that part of him wanted to hide her away, a pathological desire. But he ultimately couldn't bear to see the disappointment in her eyes after she tentatively reached out to him. His voice was steady and resolute, bringing a sudden sting to her eyes. At 24, this was the first time Anya had felt the profound happiness of being definitively chosen by someone. The top floor seemed unusually lively that day. The sweet scent of cake drifted unexpectedly into Anya's office. She looked up in confusion. "Hey there, sis-in-law." A man in a pink shirt was perched half on her desk, flashing her a charming wink as he extended a hand. Anya didn't move immediately, assessing him. He might seem a little slick or oily, but his inherent aristocratic air was undeniable, and the fact that he could move freely here meant he was close to Ethan. Leo was also sizing her up. Clear eyes, bright teeth, clean and fresh makeup. Beautiful, with the elegant aura of a city professional in her white suit. But her gaze was remarkably steady, calm. So, my brother likes the cool beauty type. Before she could ponder further, Leo had taken her hand, shaking it vigorously. I'm Leo. Ethan and I grew up together, practically inseparable. I'm also the R&D director here at Jiang Group. Just call me Leo. Heard so much about you. Anya understood. So this was the Leo Ethan had mentioned. My brother's something else, you know? Done with keeping you in a gilded cage. Now he's going for office passion? Anya's polite smile didn't waver. Leo was a chatterbox. Once he started, he couldn't stop. Ethan, still in a meeting, had no idea his childhood embarrassments were being thoroughly dissected by Leo. When the meeting finished, he hadn't even reached Anya's office door before he heard the laughter spilling out. And guess what? He just left Guan Xian stuck in the tree and walked away. Hurrah! Ethan's mood soured instantly. He entered, and with a few words, tried to shoo Leo away. Leo, being pushed out, protested indignantly. Just one of me is leaving. There's a whole wave coming. You might as well just sit by the door and guard your treasure yourself. Ethan was unmoved. As Leo was ushered out, he winked at Anya again. I'm hosting tonight. You have to come, okay? Anya just smiled, noncommittal. Seeing how quickly they had become familiar, Ethan frowned slightly, regretting bringing Anya into his circle so soon. With a firm shove, Ethan closed the door, shutting out Leo. Silence returned. Tired. How long was he here? They spoke at the same time. He's quite amusing, Anya said, smiling, choosing not to elaborate. I'll instruct the lobby security, Ethan said, his voice firm. Aside from scheduled appointments, no one else is allowed up. It's all right, she said softly. They're your friends. She sounded obedient. But I don't want you to see any man but me. Ethan fought back the pathological thought, biting it back before it could escape. Anya, of course, had no idea what he was thinking. She simply took the jacket he still held in his hand, hung it up, and poured him a glass of water. Ethan sat down in her chair, taking the water but setting it on the desk. He took her wrist. With a gentle pull, she tumbled into his lap. Anya instinctively glanced outside. Even with the door and windows closed, there was a thrill, a sense of illicit intimacy. Watching her careful, almost apologetic reaction, he let out a low chuckle, his amusement evident. Anya met his eyes, which held a hint of teasing laughter, and felt a rush of annoyance mixed with shyness. Since he wasn't being discreet, perhaps she didn't need to be so cautious either, walking on eggshells. No matter how much she tried to maintain distance, if he didn't cooperate and behaved as intimately as he pleased, the truth of their relationship would be obvious to everyone. Most importantly, she trusted he knew what he was doing and would handle everything appropriately. Freed from her reservations, Anya settled into his embrace, her hands resting on his shoulders, giving him a casual massage. Ethan leaned back, slightly, his chin resting against her cheek, inhaling her unique scent. He kissed the tear mole at the corner of her eye intermittently. Feeling a shift in his body, Anya's cheeks flushed. She gave him a shy glare and slipped out of his lap. Mr. Jiang, behave yourself. This is the office. She put some distance between them before allowing herself to tease him. We can at home. His voice was rough, his eyes gleaming with veiled desire. Listen to that tone, negotiating, expectant. What a hypocrite. Every single time, it was his impatience, his desire that led him to strip her bare without a second thought. Ethan lowered his head and chuckled, suppressing the surge of impulse. It was almost laughable. He, a work machine devoid of emotional entanglement, was now behaving like a young man experiencing intimacy for the first time. Ethan picked up Anya's water glass, found the faint lipstick mark where she had drunk from it, and took a sip. His gaze casually swept over the items on her desk, then fixed on a corner of white paper peeking out from under a folder. Anya realized what it was, but it was too late to stop him. It was a sketch of him. The man stood by the window, hands in his pockets, his back long and straight, exuding an air of looking down upon the world outside. The tall buildings. Ethan touched the small, delicate signature in the bottom right corner, smiling. He looked up at her. I'll have it framed later. Anya was amused. Treasure it that much? My treasure's treasure. How could I not treasure it? Anya glared at him, her face burning, her expression saying, just die from talking in circles already. Ethan persisted in teasing her. As my personal secretary, aside from answering calls and making coffee, you just need to draw. He leaned closer, his voice low. Draw your man's daily life into a portfolio. Later, I'll hold an exhibition and let everyone know how much you love me. Anya, the beautiful woman, was speechless, thinking, is this guy seriously giving himself that much credit? He even deliberately blew warm air near her ear. Later, when we're home, I can even be your nude model for free. Anya pushed him away, mortified. How had this man suddenly become so shamelessly bold? Across from Anya's office was the tea room. Two female employees from downstairs were consumed with curiosity about her and used the excuse of delivering files to linger and sneak glances. Mr. Jiang has been in there for almost 10 minutes, hasn't he? Oh my God, our unattainable Mr. Jiang hasn't actually been touched, has he? All she is going for her is being pretty, having a nice figure, and knowing how to dress, right? What other advantages? Those advantages are enough for you to envy her for a lifetime. A cold, male voice startled them, making their hearts jump. Mr. Liang, they stammered, greeting him. Marcus Liang, Ethan Jiang's most capable assistant, a quiet, highly efficient workaholic. The company doesn't keep idle people. Which department are you two from? As he spoke, he took out his phone, seemingly ready to file a complaint. The girl's eyes welled up with tears, terrified. They clasped their hands together. No, Mr. Liang. Please spare us this once. We really didn't mean to offend the new secretary. Marcus looked at them expressionlessly for a moment. After a long pause, he stepped back. Get back to your stations. The two girls fled in a panic. After dispatching them, Marcus stood there for a moment, timing himself, then knocked on Anya's office door. Mr. Jiang, the representative from Huifeng Company has arrived. The quiet murmuring inside stopped. Ethan's deep voice responded. After 2 minutes, Ethan emerged. Marcus remained, waiting until his boss had departed, then knocked on Anya's door again. Anya came out, observing him as she did. The man had neatly combed bangs, black-rimmed glasses, and a black suit. His face was serious, almost grim, as if he had been assimilated by Ethan, yet thankfully, he wasn't as unapproachable as Ethan. Marcus adjusted his glasses. My apologies, I was too busy this morning. I can only brief you on your duties now. Anya smiled, spreading her hands. It's fine. I'm just an idle person anyway. Her tone was gentle and friendly. Marcus was a little surprised, expecting her to be arrogant due to her favored status. He cleared his throat awkwardly, unsure how to respond. Just 2 days earlier, on the weekend, Ethan had suddenly announced he was bringing someone in and revealed to the entire secretary office that, "This is my girlfriend." He instructed them to be mindful but discreet. The company's official decree had been sent to all employees email 10 minutes ago. Its core message, during work hours and on all employee social platforms, any unfavorable gossip or rumors disruptive to company unity would result in significant rewards for whistleblowers and severe penalties for violators. In short, the rule was tailor-made to protect Anya. Marcus laid out several documents, explaining Ethan's recent schedule and necessary social engagements. Mr. Su's golf course opening ceremony requires accompanying Mr. Jiang. Mr. Wu's birthday dinner is not required. The gift has already been ordered, and I will send it over. This one, Anya finally understood that being a personal assistant involved handling countless details, a massive undertaking. He glanced at the content of the next document and subtly closed it. The final point, the most complex, was dealing with Ethan's numerous admirers. But the list was simply too long, and he worried Anya might react strongly. That's it. Anya looked at him innocently. That's it. Marcus played dumb, choosing not to wade into that particular swamp. He stiffly changed the subject. I'll show you around the floor. Anya didn't suspect anything and obediently followed him. They walked side by side. Anya chatted casually. Besides what you mentioned, do I need to handle any other business tasks? Marcus shook his head, speaking frankly. In the secretary office, I have 5 other assistants. He listed them. They each handled different sectors of the company: finance, pharmaceuticals and equipment, technology, real estate, and so on. They all have specific roles. Clearly, Anya didn't yet possess the capacity to handle those sectors. Anya smiled and moved on from the topic. Ethan was very busy. After meeting clients in the reception room, he had to take people out for lunch, but he still carved out 5 minutes to pull Anya into his office. She was pressed against the door, overwhelmed by a torrent of fervent kisses. Gasping for air, Anya finally managed to gently push him away. Tired, he seemed captivated, tracing her lips with his fingers, unwilling to let go. Anya shook her head, holding him close. A wave of tenderness washed over Ethan's heart. They huddled together in that small space, chatting softly. What did you eat? I ate with the people from the secretary office. She suddenly remembered something and teased him. How come all your secretaries are men? And they're all so quiet, like carbon copies of you, she added, though they were all very nice and tried to include me. Anya knew Ethan must have instructed them. Ethan's reply was concise. Women are troublesome. Anya tilted her head, her eyes saying, Shall I leave then? You're different. Ethan's sweet talk and flirtatious remarks, like his fighting skills apparently, seemed to have developed overnight, making rapid progress. Before they could linger any longer, the assistant outside was urging him. Ethan pointed towards the lounge. Get some rest, take a nap. I'll be meeting clients outside this afternoon. He leaned down and kissed the top of her head. I'll pick you up after work. My sister is back in the country today, and Leo's hosting a party for her. He insisted I bring you. Anya's expression flickered with hesitation. This meant entering his social circle. From being his private secret to becoming semi-public, she could vaguely sense his previously restrained feelings intensifying. Dramatically, 3 months of ambiguity might seem long in the era of fast food romance. But what was it about her that captivated him so completely, so genuinely? It touched her heart, but also made her fearful. It's settled, Ethan said, kissing her hair again before opening the door and leaving. Anya stood by the door, leaning her back against it. She bowed her head for a moment, then looked up, gazing towards her desk across the room. Warm sunlight streamed in through the floor-to-ceiling windows, bright and clear, but she felt a sudden chill. It was as if she were a refugee swept away by a flood, isolated and helpless. She was distracted for the entire afternoon, and the workday ended without her fully realizing it. Ethan returned from his client meeting exactly on time to pick her up. Once inside the car, Anya had carefully concealed her emotions. On the way, he took several calls, all from people rushing him. Anya could faintly hear a woman's clear, complaining voice on one call, deliberately loud enough for Ethan to hear. Coming or not? Forget him if he's not. We don't need him. Didn't even pick me up from the airport. Late for the party. Does he even see me as his sister anymore? It seemed the calls were from the guest of honor herself, his sister, Isabel Jiang. There was a rustling sound, and the phone seemed to have been snatched away. Hey, don't hang up, princess. Beep, beep, beep. Ethan didn't seem annoyed about being hung up on. My sister's a bit direct, but she's not bad, he explained. She's been studying abroad for 2 years and just finalized plans to open a high-end custom design studio here. Anya listened carefully, only offering a simple in response. During a pause at a red light, he turned to look at her. The neon lights of the city streets filtered into the car, casting a hazy glow on her quiet, lost in thought face. For a moment, he felt as though she was miles away, a sense that she might disappear at any moment. Ethan hated that feeling. Her hand was suddenly taken. Anya snapped back to attention, smiling at him reassuringly. She'll like you. Don't worry. Anya leaned closer, teasing playfully. What if my future sister-in-law really doesn't like me? How should I win her over? With those words, whether she meant them or not, the knot of anxiety in Ethan's chest began to loosen. Zero Dawn Private Club. They passed through the opulent lobby on the ground floor, took the elevator up to the 4th floor, walked down a quiet, luxurious corridor, and finally stopped before a private room. A server knocked on the door. Quick. It must be them. Footsteps hurried towards the door from inside. The door opened. 5 or 6 pairs of eyes were immediately fixed on Anya. She had changed out of her work clothes into a stylish red top paired with loose, wide-leg black leather pants, thin high heels, her dark curly hair cascading down her back. Her makeup was a vintage style. She looked both fashionable and elegant. Those eyes moved in unison from her hair to her feet, everyone nodding in approval. Fair, beautiful, and long legs. As expected of a woman who could catch Ethan Jiang's eye. Anya's smile was bright and confident. She nodded openly towards them. Hello everyone, I'm Anya. All right. Several people exclaimed, extending their hands to shake hers. Seeing the slight frown on Ethan's face, they quickly pulled their hands back. Several of them, energetic and eager, called out, Sister-in-law, please come in. Sister-in-law is here. Hurry, offer her a seat. The room was enormous, with glittering gold walls, thick dark red patterned carpets, large purple sofas, and shifting, hazy lights. Men and women were gathered in small groups, chatting. Ethan led Anya into the room, hand in hand, drawing everyone's attention. Someone started whistling, and soon, scattered wolf whistles and cheers broke out. The person who had been belting out a heartbroken ballad finally stopped. Isabel Jiang, who had been chatting gossiping with other girls, turned her head, saw Ethan, and her eyes lit up. She shot up from the sofa. But the next moment, she noticed. He had brought a woman with him. The little princess's face fell instantly. She plopped back down, kicking Leo beside her and tilting her chin towards Anya. "Who's that?" Leo was bewildered. "Don't you know? That's your sister-in-law." Clearly, Isabel was the last to know her older brother was no longer single. This annoyed her immensely. Very, very much. "Whose sister-in-law? Did I say I accepted her? Don't just call people that." Luckily, Big Lou, the mic king, just happened to hit a high note in his singing, drowning out the princess's outburst. No one heard her except Leo. But Ethan saw her mood shift immediately. Ethan led Anya to an available sofa and sat down, only then gesturing to his sister. "Izzy, come here." Isabel huffed, then reluctantly got up after a moment. The others, sensing the family dynamic, tactfully gave the siblings space. Isabel examined Anya from head to toe. The latter was also looking at her. One exuded sophisticated, mature elegance. The other was pure princess style, a pure white. Mini dress with a large ruffled collar, hair in a bun, fresh, minimalist makeup. Too bad. Cute was no match for sexy. This made Isabel even more annoyed with Anya. Seeing her struggling to find words, Ethan looked displeased. "You're getting worse with age. Don't you know how to greet people?" Isabel stared at Anya, then reluctantly uttered 3 words. "Isabel Jiang." Anya's red lips curved into a faint smile. She met Isabel's gaze, her demeanor composed, and neither servile nor arrogant. "Anya." There was nothing else to say. Anya could sense Isabel's hostility, but it wasn't the arrogant condescension of someone looking down on her, so it didn't make her uncomfortable. On the contrary, Anya rather liked how Isabel wore her emotions plainly, her entire person bright and transparent, almost dazzling. She looked like a pure, sheltered princess who had been well protected. Around the same age, yet Anya had learned to swallow everything she felt and show only a composed exterior. How could she not envy Isabel? The air hung heavy for 2 seconds. "Call her sister-in-law," Ethan said, his eyes stern. "I'm hungry," Isabel announced, getting up to leave. But she hadn't walked far before she couldn't resist turning back, looking at Anya, who was surrounded by men she didn't know. "This is annoying." The little princess lifted her chin. "Want to come with me?" Anya was slightly surprised but nodded. Ethan didn't release her hand immediately, reluctant to let her out of his sight. Anya scratched his palm lightly, signaling with her eyes, as if to say, "Didn't you want me to get along with your sister?" Ethan finally let go. Isabel ordered fresh fruit and pastries and called her girlfriends over. They knew each other well and chattered animatedly about everything from celebrity gossip to the new fall collection from Chanel. Anya wasn't one to deliberately try to please or integrate into a group. She sat quietly on the side, her gaze drawn to the karaoke screen, watching the music videos. Isabel's thought to include Anya was just an impulse. Now that she had brought her over, she regretted it. She began to deliberately exclude Anya from their conversation, whispering jokes and sharing secrets, wanting to see if Anya would look hurt or complain tearfully to her brother. But Anya didn't. She remained calm, like nothing was wrong. She wasn't awkward even though she wasn't part of their group. She simply sat there, her presence alone a captivating sight. Anya saw through Isabel's little game. Noticing Isabel's gaze on her, she raised her glass, clinking it in the air towards her, smiling faintly. As she took a small sip, disappointed that she hadn't provoked a dramatic scene where Anya's facade would crumble, Isabel felt a slight letdown. Before the little princess could stir up more trouble, Ethan, who had gone out to take a phone call, returned. One look was enough for him to sense the discordant energy between the 2 women. Ethan stared pointedly at his sister, who guiltily looked away. Ethan took Anya's hand and led her directly to the card table, sitting beside her, guarding her. She leaned towards him, sticking out her tongue playfully. "My card skills are terrible." Seeing her quick, moist pink tongue, Ethan's eyes darkened, his voice deepening. "Let me see how terrible." Anya glared at him with mock annoyance. Hey, Card table rules. No showing off PDA. You'll lose fast, Leo shouted from across the table, drumming his fingers impatiently. Anya instantly turned back, straightening her posture. The man beside her chuckled low in his throat, draping an arm over the back of her chair and playing with the ends of her hair. Just as the cards were dealt, Isabel's chair was kicked. I'll switch with you. Isabel, unable to sit still, had joined them. In the end, Anya ended up sitting directly opposite Isabel. After a few rounds, Ethan was thoroughly entertained by Anya's terrible card playing, chuckling to himself. Everyone else was also stealing glances, stifling their laughter. Anya, blushing, nudged him with her elbow. Think you can do better? Ethan finally composed himself slightly. I'll help you turn the tables. With Ethan's assistance, the situation at the card table reversed instantly. The pile of paper chips in front of Anya grew thicker and thicker. Leo watched from the side, lamenting dramatically. You two are raking in all the money and love. Are you leaving any hope for us single dogs? Isabel kicked him under the table. So noisy. Her own hand was being completely suppressed by Ethan. She was getting increasingly frustrated. Another round began. Don't play that one, play this. Anya obediently laid down the card. Leo, mimicking Ethan, reached out to stop Isabel's hand. Play this one. Isabel shot him a glare, and he meekly withdrew his hand. My apologies, little princess. Please proceed. Twice in a row, Ethan deliberately played defensively, sacrificing larger points to corner Isabel, leaving her unable to play a single card. Finally, the little princess's temper exploded. She slammed her cards onto the table. I'm not playing. She stood up, her chair scraping loudly. The room fell into an awkward silence. Leo attempted to mediate. Don't be mad, sis. I'll help you win back everything you lost. Ethan, already tired of indulging Isabel, stood up and pulled her towards the door. Anya watched the backs of the siblings, a tightness in her chest. The mood had soured, and she no longer felt like playing. She looked at Leo, giving him a small smile. I'm a little tired. Can someone take my place? The siblings stood in the hallway. Isabel couldn't withstand his intense gaze. What do you want? Annoyed that I'm in your way? I should be asking you that, Ethan retorted. He pointed back towards the room. The person in there is someone I care about. What was that attitude? His voice rose. Dare to give her the cold shoulder? I'll give you the cold shoulder and see how you like it. Isabel had been holding back her own frustration. Her eyes immediately turned red. Haven't you been giving me the cold shoulder enough? She accused. So it was because of a woman. I thought. You were so busy. Turns out you were busy revolving around other women. She poked his chest. Suppressing my cards now is a small matter. Who knows what else you'll do for that woman later? As the elder brother, he was like a father figure to her, and Isabel's dependence on him was even greater than on her parents. The thought that Ethan's affection would now be largely directed towards another woman ignited her possessiveness, causing her to lose control. It was said that Isabel relied on Ethan the most because he always seemed to understand her emotions and could gently guide her, making her listen to him. So, at this moment, Ethan understood the root of her frustration, and his anger subsided considerably. He put his arm around her shoulder. She's the woman I care about, and you're my sister. If things go well, she'll be your sister-in-law. He spoke calmly. Making things difficult for her is making things difficult for me. He paused, then added, look at it another way. If you have a sister-in-law, you'll have another person who will care for you. Isabel was surprised by his seriousness. Forget about their relationship being uncertain. Even if he truly wanted to marry Anya, their parents would surely put up a fight. But the little princess was still on her brother's side, though her words remained a bit stubborn. I don't need anyone else. Ethan pretended to push her away. Isabel quickly clutched him tightly, annoyed and frustrated. Can't I even complain a little? Ethan chuckled, seeing she was gradually coming around. I really am busy. It's not because of anything else. Really? When have I ever lied to you? That's true. The little princess's anger completely dissipated. She even mumbled a quiet apology. You should apologize to her. Isabel grumbled, sounding impatient. All right, I know. Returning to the room, Ethan's gaze scanned for Anya, only to find a young man from a prominent family who had arrived later was talking to her. Seeing Ethan's face instantly darken, Isabel chuckled, daring to tease him. Looks like you two are both quite popular. Maybe you should pair up and save the rest of us the trouble. Ethan ignored her and strode over. Mr. Liu, long time no see. Ethan said, greeting the man while simultaneously putting his arm around Anya's slender waist. Anya, who was seated, looked up at him. "You're back." Ethan sat down, his gaze fixed on the man. "What were you talking about?" The man's scalp tingled. He realized he had been flirting with the wrong person. He wanted to leave, but, to save face, forced a stiff conversation with Ethan about business matters. Isabel, sitting beside them, listened as they discussed work. She rolled her eyes, bored. She also couldn't help but internally comment on her brother's way of dealing with potential rivals, taking over the conversation instead of just chasing the person away. "Hey." She poked Anya with her elbow, awkwardly extending an invitation. "Want to go to the restroom together?" Anya readily nodded. Ethan hadn't released her hand, seemingly reluctant to let her go out of his sight. Anya scratched his palm lightly, signaling with her eyes, as if to say, "Didn't you want me to get along with your sister?" Ethan finally loosened his grip. At the sink, they stood at opposite ends, a comfortable distance between them. Isabel reapplied her makeup, watching Anya in the mirror. Anya was looking down, washing her hands with soap. Most of the time, she was like this, quiet, composed, treating people and matters with a light touch, maintaining a polite smile without ever seeming artificial. This quality always drew people's attention. Ahem. Isabel cleared her throat awkwardly. "Sorry for being so targeted tonight." Anya paused, looking at her. A faint smile played on her lips. "It's nothing. It's understandable you'd feel that way." Anya saw everything, understood it all. Like an older sister, she had tolerated Isabel, letting her vent her emotions. They were around the same age, yet how could she be so understanding while I was? The little princess began a grumpy self-reflection. As they finished and walked out, Anya noticed Isabel hesitated, pulling back the hand she was about to extend to link arms. "What a sweet hothouse flower." Anya smiled and proactively reached out her hand to Isabel. Back at their seats, Mr. Liu was gone, but two other people had arrived, a man and a woman. Besides Anya and Isabel, she was the third woman in the room who could sit so close to Ethan. Knew this woman would come running. Anya heard Isabel mutter under her breath, and vaguely gathered that the elegant woman had a complex history with Ethan, and Isabel clearly didn't like her. As they walked closer, Isabel introduced them to Anya. "The guy is Vincent Fay. He's a city's hottest lawyer, a legal consultant for my brother's company. He's a good person." Isabel's tone shifted to obvious impatience as she introduced the woman. "The woman is Scarlett Guan. She's also at my brother's company, in the sales department or something." Isabel paused, then decided to be completely upfront. "She likes my brother. She's been following him around since she was little. If something was going to happen, it would have happened already. So, you can be sure, she's no threat to you." The princess's tone was openly dismissive. "She's just a paper tiger, really. She relies on my dad's pity because of her late grandfather. She puts on airs and struts around. Anyone who didn't know better would think she was trying to marry my dad as his second wife." Anya turned to look at Isabel, inwardly admiring her unfiltered honesty. "If she gives you any trouble, don't worry about anything. Just stand up to her." Isabel declared fiercely. "If you can't handle it, you can always ask me for backup. I just can't stand people who put on an act." Anya looked at her, amused, half joking, half serious. "You've known them for over 10 years, and you just met me tonight. Are you sure you want to take my side?" Isabel pouted. "Because my brother's serious about you." She paused, then added, without any pretense, "And, thanks to Scarlett, I'm actually somewhat satisfied with you." Now, Anya's eyes crinkled. "You're a little sweetheart," she said, the words slipping out unconsciously. Isabel blinked, then gave an "ow jow," proud and pampered, roll of her eyes. Hearing their footsteps, the woman turned, her smile unwavering, and stood up. "Izzy, welcome back." Her tone was overly fond, like a benevolent elder. Scarlett already knew about Anya but completely ignored her presence, believing this was the greatest insult. Anya only glanced at Scarlett briefly. The woman wore a suit jacket draped over a tight, sexy camisole, looking both capable and feminine, before her attention refocused on Ethan. He was also smiling at her, patting the seat next to him. Isabel, deliberately ignoring Scarlett, pulled Anya past her, their eyes forward. Scarlett's smile twitched, a hint of stiffness appearing. From the corner of her eye, Scarlett watched Ethan carefully examining Anya's hand. Her heart was pierced as if by a needle. She lifted her glass and downed the contents in one gulp. Vincent, who had been observing silently from the side, raised his glass in a salute to Anya. "Hello, I'm Vincent." I just got back from a business trip as well. Anya clinked her glass against his. Hello, Mr. Fei. Just call me Vincent. I heard you're starting as Mr. Zhang's personal secretary today. When you have time, I'll treat you to a welcome dinner. Isabel overheard and snorted, unable to resist being snarky. Didn't realize my brother could be so clueless and so shameless. She looked at Scarlett, whose expression tightened. Isabel, enjoying Scarlett's discomfort, added a jab. Personal secretary? Why not just create a position for boss's wife? Ethan simply smiled, accepting the teasing completely. Oh, right, Izzy, Scarlett interjected smoothly. I brought you a gift. Isabel, forced by politeness to acknowledge her, pointed towards a corner. That pile over there is everyone else's. You can put yours there too. Scarlett, constantly being subtly undermined by Isabel, dared not get angry. She smiled stiffly and put the gift box down. Ethan saw Anya looking towards the karaoke area and suddenly leaned in. I want to hear you sing. Anya turned her head, her nose brushing lightly against his cheek. What do you want to hear? I'll love anything you sing. Anya felt she was drowning in his intense gaze. Her eyelashes fluttered, suppressing the urge to kiss him right there in front of everyone. Anya turned to Isabel. Want to sing? Sure. Vincent. Anya looked at the lawyer. He hasn't eaten dinner yet. Ethan answered for him. Vincent, taking the cue, stood up. Yes, I'll go grab something to eat. Isabel deliberately ignored Scarlett, pulling Anya urgently towards the singing area. Okay, let's go then. Soon, only Scarlett was left on the sofa, her hands gripping her phone tightly, her knuckles white. Walking through the distant light, you were all sunshine. So many people beside me, but the world made no sound. Anya's voice was steady and clear, with her own lazy, charming rhythm, drawing everyone's attention. She sat on the high stool, completely focused. The colored lights shifted across her long neck, her delicate collarbone, making her appear both aloof and ethereal, not easily approachable. The lyrics perfectly matched the atmosphere. Ethan was momentarily lost, so absorbed he didn't even notice when someone sat down beside him. When Anya finished, applause filled the room. She glanced back at Ethan, saw Scarlett beside him, and turned back. Isabel pulled her over for a duet, a slow, emotional love song. When it ended, the little princess didn't hold back her praise. You sing well. She had to admit, after spending some time with Anya, she found her quite likable. Natural, open, not shy in front of others, mostly playing the part of a quiet listener. At the card table, she would occasionally join in the playful banter, not stiff or trying too hard to please. Isabel led her back to their seats, only to find Scarlett had followed again. She was smiling, leaning close to Ethan as she offered him some pastries. The little princess's brows immediately furrowed. Seriously again? Anya's expression remained calm. I'm going to get something to drink. Want me to come with you? Isabel asked. Anya smiled and said it wasn't necessary. Isabel shot Ethan a meaningful look, and he followed Anya. Isabel sat in Ethan's seat, picked up a piece of pastry Scarlett had offered, took a bite, and set it down in disgust. She decided to strike first. Don't you know that basic decency requires you to stay away from married men? Scarlett smiled, looking at Isabel like a child. Izzy, let's put aside how sincere your brother is for a moment. Just the fact that this woman's background is unclear means they won't last long. She lowered her voice slightly. So, take an older sister's advice. Don't get too invested. You're being nice to her now, but who knows? Maybe one day she'll turn on you for money. Isabel seized on a key point. Unclear background. You investigated her. Scarlett shrugged casually, setting aside everything else. As a new hire, a mid-level manager, it's only reasonable for me to look into her. Isabel barely restrained herself from calling her a complete idiot. First, my brother can be with whoever he likes. It's not your place to comment. Her voice grew sharper. Second, are you crazy? Investigating someone's private life and shamelessly calling it company business. Don't you understand that not prying into people's privacy is basic etiquette? Isabel didn't hold back, her voice piercingly sharp. Just then, Leo wandered over, sensing the tension and stepping in as a mediator. Oh dear, what's the argument about now? Do you think I want to argue with people like her? Do you think I don't feel disgusted? Isabel snapped. Scarlett's hands trembled with anger, but she couldn't risk a public scene with Isabel. She quickly found an excuse and left. Good riddance. Isabel grumbled, still fuming. When the Guan family went bankrupt, if it weren't for Grandpa Guan begging Dad on his deathbed to take care of her, without the Zhang family, Who would even look at her? The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. No one knew she had once accidentally discovered Scarlett's scheme to drug Ethan. Scarlett had cried and begged, claiming it was a momentary lapse in judgment, pleading with Isabel not to tell anyone. At that time, Isabel was still friendly with Scarlett, and out of respect for the deceased Grandpa Guan, she had agreed. Ethan, who had been blackout drunk, was completely unaware of the incident. After that, Isabel's attitude towards Scarlett plummeted, much to everyone else's confusion. Scarlett, held hostage by Isabel's secret, always endured Isabel's disdain in silence. A high starting point, great resources, yet she doesn't appreciate it. She ruined a perfectly good hand. She's become so insecure and arrogant. Isabel ranted. She bullies people at the company. Don't think I don't know about her overstepping her authority multiple times, the terrible reviews everyone at the company has for her. The princess's voice was full of indignation. How can a woman be this stupid? Constantly trying to marry into the Jiang family. Putting on airs, so calculating. The Jiang family's worst nightmare for a daughter-in-law is someone like her. The little princess ranted and raved, pouring out her frustration. Although she was complaining, Leo could tell there was a hint of disappointment in her voice. As if she were angry at Scarlett's wasted potential. Leo stepped back slightly, pouring her a glass of water. The little princess sees things most clearly. Isabel glared at him. Annoying. Whether the shoe fits, the foot knows, Leo said pointedly, leaving the thought hanging. Isabel grumbled. As long as she doesn't cause trouble, I won't bother with her. Leo changed the subject. How about that musician boyfriend of yours? Still together? Sure enough, Isabel's anger vanished instantly. Her cheeks even flushed slightly. We're doing fine, she added fiercely. And he has a name. It's Brandon. How many times do I have to tell you before you remember? Leo raised an eyebrow. Then why isn't he here tonight? Doesn't seem very attentive. Why keep him? Isabel gritted her teeth. Why do you want us to break up? She glared at him, standing up to leave. Hey, where are you going? Stay and keep your brother company, Leo teased, his voice full of mischief. You're not fun. I'm going to find Anya. Looks like this sister-in-law really does have some charm to make you change your attitude so much. Isabel neither confirmed nor denied it. Who doesn't like a beauty? Midnight. The group around the card table was still energetic, spirits high. Only Anya covered a yawn. Ethan saw it and immediately put down his cards. Let's stop. No way, Mr. Jiang. It's barely past midnight. The night is just getting started. Leo, across from them, saw right through him. Mr. Jiang has gone straight now. His nightlife is hugging his wife to sleep. What do you know? Ethan smiled, saying nothing more. As if they were the only two people in the room. He took his jacket and draped it over Anya's shoulders, then took her hand and stood up. I'm going with you, Isabel announced, also tossing down her cards. I'll drive you, Leo offered, standing up. Don't need you. I'm going back to my brother's place. Isabel was still annoyed about his earlier comments trying to stir up trouble in her relationship. She glared at him, and he scratched the back of his head, sitting back down obediently. Go home. Be a good girl, Ethan said, frowning slightly at Isabel. No. The princess stomped her foot, pouting like a child, while simultaneously giving Anya a look. Anya naturally smiled and extended a hand towards her. Izzy must be tired too. Let's go back. Ethan said no more. The driver was waiting at the door. Under her brother's stern gaze, Isabel obediently got into the front passenger seat. The drive took about 20 minutes. The quiet car was filled only by Isabel's voice. Brandon, what are you doing? Why aren't you answering my calls? Anya exchanged a look with Ethan, a silent smile passing between them, and watched Isabel's little drama unfold. The little princess started off gently, listing the fun things that happened tonight, a long string of green text bubbles from her appearing on her chat screen. After a few minutes of silence, she started calling again. Still no answer. The little princess began sending voice messages, her voice filled with growing frustration. Not answering calls, not replying to messages. Brandon, are you trying to get yourself killed? Music festivals happen every year, but you only have one girlfriend. Do you even know how to prioritize? After sending the voice message, Isabel seemed to regret it, sighing in resignation. Forget it. Do whatever you want. But she added, remember to reply when you see this. Isabel plugged in her earphones, turned the music up loud, closed her eyes, and finally quieted down. Anya picked up the thin blanket beside her and started to get up to cover her, but Ethan grabbed her by the waist, stopping her. "I'll do it," he said softly. His tone was tender, but his action of covering his sister with a blanket was perfunctory, a simple toss. Anya gave him a helpless look. Ethan pulled her into his arms. Finally, they had a quiet moment alone. Anya rested her head on his leg, so comfortable she felt she could fall asleep. Ethan's fingers gently combed through her soft hair. He lowered his head and kissed her tear mole. In the late night, his voice was husky, filled with a unique tenderness. "Don't sleep. Talk to me for a bit." Anya opened her eyes, her gaze clear and pure, looking up at him quietly. After a moment, she asked casually, "Have you met Izzy's boyfriend?" "Seen him once," Ethan replied concisely, seeming uninterested. Anya, however, was curious. "A musician?" "Just a flaky band," Ethan said, his assessment sharp and dismissive. "From your tone, you don't like him? You're not going to break them up, are you?" Ethan scoffed. "I don't need to. They won't last." "So, they've been long distance all these years?" Ethan gave a heavy sigh of assent. "The only reason they've lasted this long is because that silly girl is the one putting in all the effort." Anya couldn't help but admire Isabel. "She's so brave." In the past, Ethan hadn't supported the relationship but had refrained from commenting. Now, speaking to Anya, he seemed able to share more of his thoughts. What kind of future can a man have who makes a huge fuss about pursuing his dream, falling out with his family, only to crawl back later and accept their financial help? Ethan's voice held a note of disappointment. Not ruthless enough, not brave enough, and lacking the masculine responsibility to shoulder burdens. He's destined not to achieve anything remarkable. He paused. And this girl, she's been so protected she doesn't know how hard life can be. She's blinded by emotion. She needs to hit a wall to grow. He sounded like a responsible, thoughtful elder brother. Anya's heart swelled with emotion. "Izzy has you. She'll be very happy her whole life." Ethan smiled, lowered his head, and rubbed his nose against her face, his voice husky. "You'll be just as happy as her." Anya froze, overwhelmed with emotion, trying to hide the sudden tears in her eyes by burying her face in his chest. He was the second person in her life, after her foster mother, perhaps, who genuinely cared for her safety and well-being. Ethan started to say more, but Anya, unable to contain her feelings, climbed into his lap and captured his lips, kissing him fiercely. All the complex, heavy emotions found release in the passionate embrace. Ethan responded, covering them both with his jacket. Marcus, who had caught Ethan's eye signal, quickly raised the partition between the front and back seats, his eyes wide with shock, daring not to move a muscle. "This is too damn exciting. This Secretary Jian looks so gentle, but when she acts, she's explosive." Sensing the change in him, Anya suddenly stopped kissing him. She froze, not daring to move. Ethan held her face, his expression teasing and seductive. "Why? Stop." Anya lowered her head, burying her face in his chest, listening to the strong beat of his heart. "I'm a little tired," she mumbled, feigning sleepiness. Ethan didn't expose her lie, giving himself a moment to recover as well. It struck him as funny. He, who used to be a work machine without feelings, was now behaving like a young man experiencing intimacy for the first time. He had never truly taken her completely. For the first 2 months, it was because of her injuries. Now, the deeper his feelings grew, the more he cherished her, the more he restrained himself. Over the next few days, the heartbroken little princess moped around the villa, having no interest in her new studio and refusing to see friends. Although she didn't cry in front of her brother or Anya, her eyes remained puffy. That evening, the little princess ate only a few bites before putting down her chopsticks and returning to her room. "It's not good for her to just hide in her room and cry like this," Anya said, watching Isabel's retreating back with concern. "She'll be fine once she's cried enough," Ethan said dismissively. Anya gave him a look, and he amended, "It's the cost of growing up. Life can't be too smooth sailing." Anya sighed inwardly, just a more polite way of saying the same thing. Anya thought for a moment. "Tomorrow's the weekend. How about taking her out to clear her head?" "I have to meet a client tomorrow. It was decided at the last minute," Ethan said, taking her hand. "You take her out. You'll do fine." "How come I feel like you're pushing all your sister's problems onto me now?" Anya asked, a hint of amusement and exasperation in her voice. Ethan looked at her seriously. "I handle the outside. You handle the inside." She was being teased again. Seeing she wasn't responding, he turned to her. "Not willing." Anya looked at him, confirming he was asking seriously, asking about an ambiguous future life together. The beauty of the moment threatened to overwhelm her. The word willing was on her lips, but she swallowed it back. A sudden hesitation, a flicker of fear. The next day, Isabel still didn't want to go anywhere. She pulled Anya into the home theater and watched horror movies all day. Isabel demonstrated perfectly what it meant to be scared yet addicted. Anya, meanwhile, was so unnerved by her screaming that by evening, she flatly refused to watch another movie and dragged Isabel out. Mrs. Song had taken the day off. The two of them were debating whether to order delivery or go out when Leo called. After a few sentences, Isabel started ranting. "Leo, you dog. At least try to hide your laughter. Are you really that happy I broke up?" She refused his offers. "Not eating, not drinking, not partying. I'm not interested in your vulgar fun right now." She swore back. "You become a nun." Isabel hung up the phone in a fury. Anya chuckled. "You two are really like a bickering old couple. Don't want to talk about him," Isabel said, dismissing Leo. "He seems quite attentive to you," Anya said, a knowing smile playing on her lips. "Could it be he's interested in you?" Isabel was blunt. "He confessed to me before I went abroad." Anya was surprised her intuition was so accurate. She had accidentally stumbled upon a major piece of gossip. "He's not my type," Isabel continued matter-of-factly. "Besides, I've seen through men like him, who change women every week." She elaborated. "They say, you're the most special, but when another woman comes along, they just instinctively accept it and make excuses about it being just acting." Isabel sighed. "Men like that, at least for now, don't understand what love is, and they aren't willing to settle down for it." She paused. "Being friends is fine, since he's loyal in other ways. So, that's how we are now, nothing to hide." Saying this, Isabel sighed again. "My brother is the outlier among them." She looked at Anya, her expression serious. "He's in the world of fame and power, can't avoid everything, and he seems to know how to have fun better than anyone. But his core is completely proper. You absolutely must cherish a man this good." Isabel's voice held a warning. "Otherwise, I guarantee you, once you've loved him, you probably won't be able to love another man in this lifetime." Isabel's honesty was stark and unwavering, but her words echoed in Anya's mind, feeling like a prophecy that would come true, sending a chill down her spine.